Welcome to Lounge TV. I'm Larry.
And I'm Joe.
And this is a Keeping It Real on it's kind of
a somber note.
Somber note, especially for this time of year. And you guys might be wondering by the thumbnails, like, what in the world? But
it's
for
reality.
a lot of people, this time of year hurts. It's not always happy. It's not always merry. It's,
It's sad. It is. So, it's great for us to focus on the good.
Yeah.
And enjoy the holidays.
But we want to remember those who are hurt.
But we have to
now.
remember those that aren't celebrating and that are having a hard time, and pray for those people. To be honest with you,
yeah, there's a lot of people that hurt.
Tons.
Like for instance, like this Christmas is my first Christmas ever in my lifetime without my mom.
Wow.
My mom passed away. Back in what was that? January, February.
That's crazy.
February.
And I have not gone through that yet. I remember my first Christmas without my grandma. I was 21. She passed away like yesterday, 21 years ago.
Right. And a lot of people, that's where you first, usually, it comes in with your grandparents and, like...
Until you get his age.
When you're young, you figured, like, I have memories of, like...
If you're lucky when you're young. And that's because
yeah, not everybody.
Unfortunately.
But I remember we would go over to Grandmom's house. My one grandma, they didn't live that far away, a couple miles. Every time, it wasn't Christmas, it was the week after. It was like New Year's Eve.
Oh, get out.
And that's when we would exchange.
That's cool.
So it was like an extra Christmas.
Yeah, extra Christmas.
Yeah,
that's
even
awesome.
though it was mostly like, socks and pajamas and stuff like that.
Still,
like,
presents, hang out, family, have food.
Exactly.
Parents are happy, means you're happy.
So then, when they pass away, then Christmas is different.
Yeah, that first year after somebody passes is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma passed away December like 20th, I think.
Okay.
19th maybe.
Oh, so not too long before.
No,
Christmas.
right before Christmas, and it was and for us, Christmas Eve was like a staple. Like even today, my family still hosts it, and it's everybody comes. So she's always done it. So my mom's entire life, they've had Christmas Eve.
Okay.
And then my aunt, my uncles, and then my entire life, we've had Christmas Eve. So it's always been a thing. That first Christmas Eve without her was very hard. And my grandfather, too, same thing. But he was... There was about 6 months in between when he passed away and Christmas. When you talk about 2 weeks, it's hard. And then what do? Do you celebrate? Because I say yes, because that's what they would want you to do. If I pass away, I want my whole family to still celebrate Christmas.
Right.
But it's hard because you're missing that person.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's like with your parents and even my parents. Like when their parents pass, then each Christmas that was coming around, they're doing it without their parent around.
It's unfortunate, but it's part of life. But it is.
But it's like I've known death all my life. I mean, from so many different people. Like I had a close friend die in a car accident. We were talking about this.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
and it was actually the same day my grandma died, the same as that year, the day before.
Oh wow.
Yeah, same year.
Oh wow. So my friend, he passed away. Coming back, he went down to Florida. He was going to stay down there. It was when we were like 21, and he went down there and he was going to stay there. And I guess he didn't adjust real good down there because all his friends were up here. So he left to come home and fell asleep behind the car and hit a tree and died.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah. And I can remember being excited that he was coming back because
it's horrible.
Me, Larry, Larry Johnson, and then Tim and Jim was his name, Jim Brome. We were the four.
Larry, Jim, and Tim.
Yeah, we were the four. We were like the four musketeers. Yeah.
That's so weird you said it. So for me, it was my buddy Zach. It was me, Sean, Jay, and then Zach. We were foursome.
Well, you had your five hand like this.
Well, I started this way, but yeah, he was younger than us. He was 3 years younger than us. He was a freshman when we were seniors, but he was still a dude, and he was my brother's best friend's younger brother. So we just hung out because they hung out.
Right.
And I it was a car accident, and it was it was a stop sign right. If you're going past Seabrook House.
I'm not sure where that's at.
Seabrook House is right.
I know I've went past.
But anyway, that very next stop sign, he couldn't see it in the sunlight. It was hitting him in the eyes, and he ran it, and he hit a truck, and he passed away. So I mean, and he was 18. I mean, he was. So I was probably 21, and it was the first first time I had to deal with that, right? So like,
Sure.
I've had people in high school that I knew that passed away, but not one of my boys.
Right.
It's a different situation.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. And then my brother, he passed away, and it's like this time of year with a lot of people will bring back memories of happy memories of when you were younger, but
They
it
still
also
make you sad.
it brings back this the sadness.
funny?
Yeah, the sadness of that they're not here to enjoy it anymore. And it comes from yourself, because it's like they're not here, they don't know, right?
Yeah.
But it comes from yourself because it's like you go through your situation. Like my brother was a really cool brother. You would have loved. Well, his son.
Yeah. Oh, you talking? What is that?
Yeah. He when we were growing up, I mean him and my other brother, they bought us a little pinball machine.
How much
year.
older were they than you?
Let's see. He died when he was 57.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was a long time
56 or 57. Yeah. And now you figure I'm getting older than he was when he died, which is really strange.
ago. Yeah.
And that was, I forget what year that was that he passed. 10 years maybe ago. So he's basically 10 or 11, somewhere around there.
So 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
So he is at a point in his life where he makes good money, and you're still a little kid, and he's getting his little brother something cool.
Yeah, and him and Buddy,
That's dope.
They would get in together. They got us an air hockey table one year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and one year they get us a pinball machine, and they were the kind of players that played with you all the time.
That is awesome.
They would. He's the one that I remember teaching me. They would have us. It seemed like a mile away, and they'd throw the football. And you remember when you were little, and you're running out there, and it's like you're trying to catch it. It hits you right in the forearm, the point of it, and it hurts like and it goes on the ground, and you're like, and so I had to really reach out for it. So I was like, that was a bad throw, right? I'm hurting too, right? And he's like, did you touch it? And I was like, yeah. And he says, then you should have caught it. And he was the first.
He's right, though.
He put that into my brain, and I say, don't I, Tom? I say it all the time. If I throw something to Tom and Tom catches, or no, doesn't catch it, but if he drops it, I'll be like, did you touch it? And he'll be like, yeah. I said, then you should have caught it.
But you hear it on football all the time. They just said the other day, it hit him in the hands.
Right. Can't argue with that. But it hit you in the forearm, how you not catch it, right? But no, and they were the coolest brothers ever. And so I always have memories of when I was growing up of them guys always playing with us. Like my brother was one that would play Monopoly.
That's even harder for you because it's someone that's your brother, right? So for me, it was I'm blessed that both my brothers with me still, and we celebrate every Christmas together. And the first one without them is going to be devastating. It will be.
Sure.
But the thing about life is unfortunately, I look back, even look at pictures back of my kids or anybody, it's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Because it's time you're never going to get back, right? But you need to look back on it and realize that you were lucky enough to have that memory.
Yes.
And blessed to have it, and you need to enjoy the joy of it and not be sad about it not being there anymore.
Right. But at the same token, I think we have to be aware that there's people hurting.
100%.
And Christmas isn't merry for everybody or happy times for everybody. Sad things have happened to a lot of people. And it's a hard thing to deal with. And especially when you see everybody being, like all the commercials and everything that you see on TV, everybody's happy and all that stuff. Some people absolutely hate Christmas.
Of course.
Because of what it represents.
We had a work party today, Christmas party, and there was somebody who never celebrated, they didn't celebrate Christmas growing up. Or any holidays. They didn't do anything.
Nothing.
And it was weird. Like, she was like, well, I watch Bad Santa every year, and that's about it. And I'm like, that's just
depressing.
It's kind of sad because it sucks for them for missing out on the joy that we... Cause look, the month of November and December or not November, but the end of November.
You're a kid at heart, that's why.
Right, no, you're 100% right, but I get all giddy about it, and I want to enjoy the moments and I want to have my kids enjoy the moments they have.
Sure.
That I enjoyed growing up. And I look back on my grandparents being there growing up and then not being there now. And it is sad. Mm-hmm. But you need to realize that we're lucky enough to be blessed enough to have those great memories.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's people that can't even afford to get gifts to their kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'm lucky enough I can afford to get gifts to my kids.
Right.
But what if you can't? What if your kid's sitting there and then they have, a kid next to him, Bobby, getting this, and 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 this from Santa. And they get a new pair of shoes or whatever they get. That's it.
It's interesting that you used the name of your brother.
Did I?
Yeah. It's interesting how you did that he got something That's a psychological thing right there.
It might be.
That was definitely a Freud moment.
It might be. But it's sad for a lot of people. They're not, and it's not just people not being there anymore. It could be the fact that you don't have the means to celebrate Christmas the way you want to.
Yeah.
And you feel bad about it. But in all honesty, you know, I feel like if you feel bad about it, then you have kids, right? Mm-hmm. But the kids don't realize it. They don't know. Like, there's plenty of Christmas that parents were struggling when I was growing up, and I had no idea.
Well, you know what? That's a good point that you brought up, because, like, I remember reading this one person that I knew from Camden, and they had wrote down on this one thread, and they said, we were so poor when we were growing up, but we didn't know it.
You had no idea.
They didn't know it because you do the best that you can.
You do the best you can, and you get excited about what you can get. The whole premise.
You know what? When little kids are real young, you could give them a box and
wrapped up,
and they just love playing with the box.
Dude.
I remember Tom.
Yep.
When he had his toy box full of toys, he'd take all the toys out of the toy box and then he'd climb in the toy box.
Yeah.
So he'd play with his toys.
Yeah, I do. I remember my kids all the time getting, like, I think it'd be the dumbest toy ever, and all I want to do is get the toy out of the box and just sit in the box. Oh, get in the box. Oh, cool. I can get in the box? Great. I'll just buy a big box.
Yeah, right.
And it saves a ton of money. You have
and a kid can play with a box for whatever. So Christmas can be whatever you make it. But I just wanted to bring it out that it's like there's a lot of people that hurt around Christmas time because of loss. And
we understand. We
empathize for you. And everybody should sympathize with everybody that... Not empathize, everybody.
Better word.
Empathize, sympathize.
Well, sympathize is more like you feel bad for. Empathize is that you understand where they're coming from.
Well, I empathize and sympathize.
I guess I kind of feel bad for them too. You're right.
But I do, and I hope everybody else can take a step back and understand that. And, you know, when you see that little kettle out there from Salvation Army or whatever, you put a couple dollars in there or whatever you can afford if you can, because there are people that can't celebrate.
That need that Salvation Army. So, and the thing about it is, guys, look. Whatever level you can celebrate, whatever you can do to get yourself happy and enjoy a moment, do it.
Right.
Do it now, because guess what? Tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Right.
And if you have kids or you have family that can be around, go hang out with them.
Yeah.
Spend time with them and enjoy the holidays and do what you can do. Even if it's not the best holiday in the world, I get it.
Right.
This is not my best holiday in the world. I'm not even at home.
Right.
But enjoy it as much as you can, and because guess what, next Christmas is not guaranteed.
Right, especially with the way the world is. With you
never know.
You know, every time that you turn around, there's something that we're worried about and everything. I just encourage everybody to just take a step back in your prayers, in your thoughts, whatever your belief system is. Take a step back and think about those who hurt during this time. Not everybody has a merry or happy Christmas, but we still wish you
a merry and happy Christmas.
Very merry and happy Christmas, guys. Till next time, grab yourself something cold to drink, put your feet up, relax. We'll meet you at the lounge.